Hey friends, welcome to my brand new channel. This is where I drive around various video games and just chat about whatever comes to mind. I hope you have a chill time here with me as I'm decompressing and thinking about various things. Today we are in the UK in Forza 4, and I have just spent way too much time collecting new cars. This should probably be more of a disclaimer, but I am pretty much brand new to this game. I'm not that great at driving games in general, and open world races in games such as this kind of stress me out. So instead, I'm just going for these long exploration drives. Yeah, it's kind of nice to check out these like winter vibes without having to worry about winter tires. And these mountains here are very much like what I'm used to, except when there's this much snow, I'm not heading out. Definitely not on the highways. So yeah, there is a lot to explore in this game. Because I was just purchasing all these free cars, I unlocked way too much in one go, so I will probably be floundering for a while. And I will be floundering with the driving too, because it's in the UK and everything is kind of on the wrong side. Except this car. This car's fine. Yeah. What comes to mind? A lot has been happening in my life lately, and there are lots of concepts that I would love to just spend more time working through, thinking out loud about them. We did a little strength test today, and at my current workplace, it's very strength heavy, so everyone sort of has to take this quiz as part of intake, and so that we can all discover our 5 strengths and use those 5 strengths to understand ourselves, our role in this team, and I guess have an understanding with each other. And I feel like it's a very cool concept. In some ways, like I've certainly never really worked in a place that put that much emphasis on team building right from the get-go, and I really appreciate that aspect. I think that's how we end up with like a very cohesive yet diverse team. And yeah, it's also really cool to see how like every strength is so different. Some people are much better at getting things done. Other people are more about strategizing and thinking and creating or connecting with other people. Yeah, and it's really, really cool to see how, oops, those are fences. Well, goodbye. Ooh. Yeah, it's really cool to see how like people fit together in a team to like, personally for me, I didn't really have any strengths that helped me get things done, which I kind of expected. I'm a very ideas person, and it was sort of brought up that there isn't really anybody in the company that has very similar traits to me, which is kind of cool. At the same time, I think with all of these things, as much as I feel like it's very valuable that people are able to recognize different types of intelligences and different types of like what they bring to a team of any sort, and I feel like it's very useful for self-compassion and things like that, because I feel like we live in a world where we are often put down for no reason at all. And the competition of a world such as ours is it can be very tough, and I feel like that makes it really hard to remember all these like what people bring and how people express, because I also feel like we live in a world where we kind of assume that everyone expresses their traits like in the same way. Like if I'm an empathetic person, then every empathetic person will show their empathy in the exact same way, which is just really just not true. And this actually came out because with the strength test, we had to have a meeting about it today. It was very odd. It was like having a 2-hour meeting about a personality quiz. And it was brought to my attention. I was thinking about this during this presentation, that like there's really no room for neurodivergence. And I think they tried to explain it to me afterwards that, you know, it's about identifying your talents, and it's about identifying the things you're very good at. So like neurodivergence shouldn't be considered. But I'm very skeptical. Like if your strength is that you are so extraordinarily methodical that it becomes a hindrance, then at what point is it a talent, and at what point is it anxiety? And how do we like find balance? Because if people are telling you like that is your number one thing that you're good at, you might feel like there are other things that aren't being considered. And I think overall humans are very complicated, and yeah, as much as I like the idea, there is still a lot of pitfalls, because I think there's also Western medicine and Western mental health studies and research. It feels like many people are trying to rebuild things that we already know from scratch. Like for example, a lot of indigenous cultures have always prioritized individual strengths, and then putting people in roles that help them flourish. But with colonialism, I feel like there is this sameness to people, and like success starts to look the same. And I feel like this really sort of came to mind when I was in other countries, where if you ask around and ask people like what success means, I think we often get sort of the same answers, like wealth, maybe power, fame, I don't know, very general things like that. Something safe, something steady. And I wonder if, you know, if we all had our needs met. Oh, this is Edinburgh. Oh, wow. My gosh, I was here so long ago, and it's beautiful. It looks exactly like I remember. Yeah, if everybody sort of had their needs met and felt fulfilled in the work that they do, and there wasn't any sort of like there wasn't any need to do things that you don't want to do, like, you know, people who work like 10 hours a day. There was not a world where that needs to happen, where like money isn't really an issue. Like I really wonder what would be the thing that makes people feel the most fulfilled. I've been thinking a lot about my own values and how to work and how to be in a way that aligns with them. And I feel like I have a hard time accepting the fact that you just can't have it all. Like perhaps you may never, you may have to compromise, and you may never have like everything. Um, like perhaps value system. I don't even want to say it. I was gonna say like it's not a big deal, but I know that's not true. Yeah, it's been interesting, really thinking about what I'm doing with my life. You know, like I'm on my second career change, and oh my gosh, where am I? Whoa. Okay, that is not what I expected. Yeah, being in multiple career changes in my life. Wait, how do I get out of this? Huh, interesting. I don't know if this is happening. Okay. Oh gosh. This is me some days. Can I get on the train track? That feels really dangerous. Oh gosh, I can. Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I don't know where this leads, if anywhere, because I don't think it was designed to have a car in mind, so... Okay. Wow. Something tells me there must have been an easier way, but... I guess the game didn't intend for me to get into a pickle like that. But yeah, career changes. I think even the idea of a career change nowadays, it feels almost uncanny. Like the idea of being able to never have a career change and work in the same or similar job for the rest of your life, it's uncanny. Like I don't know if that is even feasible anymore. Like so many people I know are just, you know, in contract work, even like getting permanent positions in places that you would assume would be very stable. They aren't, because they aren't sustainable. Like if I were to work for the government, I think on paper it would be stable, but the way it might impact your health makes it not sustainable. And I know that, oh gosh, I should not be skidding like this. This is kind of an old meme, so to speak, of the older generation really picking on millennials and Gen Z and younger generations. It's always like a fight between generations, and you know, when there is a disconnect, that is sort of what happens. We stop like listening to each other, we stop understanding, and we stop being accountable for the things that we cause. And I think as we enter the next generation, you know, I think with kids coming up, I think kids being born in 2010 now are now in high school, and so it's kind of strange to think about people who were like 6 years old when Trump was elected. Like how do you thrive in a world where all you hear are conflicting messages of hate and sides, like taking sides, when I think in reality there really is no sides right in this world. There's a lot of people who are hurting, and there is a lot of people who will use politics to uphold extremely pernicious systems. But I feel like we've reached a stage where it's no longer really feasible to live in a democracy for long, because there is just so much pain, and from the pain comes really easy targets for very nasty campaigns against all the things that we stand for in a so-called free society. So yeah, these are just things that are in my mind right now, but I think it's also important to take the time to appreciate little things and the little victories in life. I think that means personal victories, political victories, and like, I don't know, listening to other people talk about their experiences, because I feel like all of my interactions recently has given me equal parts joy and despair. So I guess net neutral in lots of ways, but it's good in that I think like when George Floyd happened in 2020, we a lot of people were upset, but also a lot of people stopped fighting. It became a political issue that sort of lost its spark when we started talking about how to actually tackle racism, you know, how to actually break apart the systems that uphold extremely racist practices. And so I think we're also living this very strange era where there are certain kinds of activism that is acceptable, and certain issues that are more acceptable to advocate on than others. Like, it was easy to post on social media about police brutality, and a whole other issue to say ACAB, because what if you need the police? What if, you know, something happens to you, you wish you had the police? And I think there is also a great stunting of our collective imaginations, because I think people are comfortable with the familiar. On a smaller scale, there's an example of if you are very unhappy with your job and you found a new one, you want to apply to a new job, and the new job gave you a 50% chance that it would make you happier than your current job, or even like 80%. There's an 80% chance that it might make you happier than your current job. Would you take that job? And I don't remember where I actually saw this specific statistic, but I think this was actually a study that was conducted, and I think majority of people would prefer to stay with that job. So it's like the devil, you know. So yeah, I feel like on a larger scale it's the same way. It's really hard for people to envision other things, like worlds outside of what we currently have, because we are obviously entrenched in the world that we do have. And I feel like that is where a lot of like ideological differences are, but at the core, I want to believe that everybody wants the same things, and nobody really wants to purposefully cause harm. And at the same time, I think harm is being caused because there are underlying assumptions that everyone makes. that, you know, at its core, it's assuming that, oh, wow. At its core, it's assuming that everyone feels the same things the same way as you do because you are the main character of your own story. So, it is fascinating. I think this kind of actually just goes back to strengths. It's as simplistic as I found that quiz to be, and as dissatisfied I was by personally just wanting more depth and wanting more integration of other types of knowledges, and it's not, that isn't just, you know, hinging on the work of one or two Western scientists. I'm trying to do a U-turn. That was very dramatic. Yeah, like, I really feel like being able to see and understand that people have complementary skills to you, or people have, I don't know, they're on this amazing spectrum of different talents, and I think if we could like recognize that every behavior has a reason, I wonder if it would be a more just place that we live in. But I'm not sure. I think I also struggle with the word justice recently, just not really knowing what that really means anymore, and how it just feels like such a big uphill battle. But I'm going back to Edinburgh because I didn't realize I got on the highway. I do want to end on a happier note, perhaps. And the happier note is that I learned today a bunch of fun facts about puffins. And I think whenever I go into these very somber or thoughtful states of mind, I love listening to like learning about animals. I feel like animals just really kind of like root us. Yeah, like it kind of reminds us that I totally lost the road. Oh my gosh. But the animal world just reminds us that there's just so much we don't understand, and it's absolute hubris to assume we do. And so there is no reason to make any sort of judgment on anything because we just don't know anything. So in terms of puffins, I learned that they are small. They're very light. They're 1 pound. Kind of big for a bird, I suppose. And they have immensely intelligent social structures where they will nurse chicks that aren't their own, and they have immensely complex relationships, like friendships, social relationships, like gossip, but not in the ways that we gossip, of course. So yeah, it's like, I don't speak puffin, obviously, and I'm not an expert, but I think I can appreciate that puffins live these very rich lives that we know nothing about. It is like every anthropomorphic animal movie where there is so much we don't understand and so much we have yet to learn about ourselves and each other, and that's how we create mutual respect, I think. Why would we protect puffins if we knew nothing about them? yeah, I think on a larger scale, I am still hopeful though. Like as much as I feel very thoughtful about many things, I'm currently in a rather like optimistic state of mind. So I hope to carry this energy forward and continue looking for brighter parts while um, oh, while still maintaining the awareness and the bravery to point out the things that need to be held accountable. Um, and of course, I don't have all or really any answers, but I I hope to continue meeting people who do. Or no, I want to rephrase that because that's dangerous. People who feel like they have the answers are oftentimes part of the danger of this world that we live in. I want to meet people who are willing to work together, like big puffin colonies, to work toward answers together. And I think that would be a very beautiful place to be.